Alrighty, had a few different people ask me what I've been doing since I haven't been playing PUBG recently. Basically stopped playing that recently due to hackers and it turning into Fortnite. It's been pissing me off, so we started playing Minecraft instead. And here is my initial spawn point when this world was created. This block here is where it all began, and you can see out in multiple directions a large amount of stuff. Up in the sky here is a spawn chunk ring. Everything inside there stays loaded in the real world the whole time. We'll give you a little tour of the base. So, when we first started, a long time ago, we began having a look at the mine. And what we did is we made a simple room, started in here. This is the beginning of all things. Now, from this room here, we decided to build a mine. And we've got a mine that goes down. And as you can see, we're playing in survival mode. This was all dug out by hand, one brick at a time. Took quite a long time to get all done, as you can imagine. And yeah, began with collecting all of this stone. So, after collecting a huge amount of stone and all of the resources needed, we went and started building a few different items around the place, and we'll just go for a quick tour around the world at the moment. So, elevator, back to the top. And when we first started playing, we were playing with a bunch of other friends as well, so we wanted to make sure we had some secret rooms so people wouldn't find stuff. So here's one of our initial secret rooms that we have a bunch of chests and such in. And right here we had a little secret switch at the time that opened and closed this room just here. So in there, when we first started playing, a whole pile of, this was where all the good stuff once upon a time was, and things in here and here and here and here. And then a little bit of circuits that make that kind of work. Down below here, circuitry runs off to the piston doors to make the door open and close on both sides. Redstone. It's a good feature of the game. And then there's a way to close it from the inside as well. So you can see it here if I close it. Shut that out. Door shut. And then door open. Double piston doors on both sides, right? Another one was here. Built it for another secret room. Open and closing floor. And down we have some more secret stuff that we thought was pretty cool at the time. Bunch of diamond stuff, blah 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 blah. And we have a switch down here so you can shut the door from below as well, so no one can see you when you're in here. And then to exit, you simply walk up, a little button on the wall raises the platform below you, pushes you up, and you can climb out, and then you shut the door behind you, and no one knows what's there. And here's one of the original farms, a sugarcane farm that we built. Wasn't really sure what to use sugarcane for in the first place, but have since found out elytra is an amazing thing. This is our initial wheat farm. And then from the wheat farm, built a whole huge furnace here that's got a bunch of redstone. It's got a fair bit of stuff. There's a minecart running, taking stuff at the moment, in fact. And that works fairly simply. I'll give you an example of that. So you just grab some chicken, raw chicken. If we go up to the top of the furnace, just here. So we've got an input here is where you would put in coal or whatnot. Here is where we've actually got a coal converter attached to it. So if in there I put in some jungle logs, you notice the logs counting down. They're getting taken, they're getting placed into a furnace down underneath here. And then once they're finished in the furnace, they're getting hopped around, popped back up, put into this chest here. And as they finish, you'll see like one appear here, and then it'll disappear. And one will appear, and there it goes. You watch it again in this corner here. It's going to appear for a second, then it's going to disappear. So as those bits of wood are burning, they're appearing in the top corner here. They're getting placed back into this chest here. Once they arrive in this chest in this corner, our minecart is grabbing them, running them off, placing them in a bunch of furnaces down below. This will take a little while to do. As that happens, there, you see the minecart is taking those bits of coal, it's running along and placing them, and as it goes and places them, it puts them in all of these furnaces along here. All of these furnaces then distribute what you want to cook. So if I want to cook chicken or if I want to cook sand, notice they're going down. And what's happening now is this minecart is going and dropping that into all the furnaces down below. There's all the furnaces cooking all the sand and all the chicken. And as that gets completed, it goes through some hopper systems, pops back up at the top, and you'll notice my chicken start to go up here in a minute. So I'm 56 at the moment. 57, 58, 59, 60. They're cooking chicken. The chicken is cooking, as you see. And then once that finishes, the sand and stuff that we just put in will start turning to glass, and it's all from the output chest there. So a little automated furnace there. But that wasn't here originally, obviously. At the very beginning, after digging that massive hole in the ground, I decided to build a tower to the top of the ceiling. This is made out of stone brick, which is really annoying, and we're playing in survival, so this was built one brick at a time, all the way to the top of the world. and it just keeps going up and up and up, layer after layer, like a continuous staircase. A little bit later on, when I started building that, we cut out to the left and right, and I put two little rocket things on each side, just, I don't really know why, to make it look symmetrical, I suppose. And out of this side here, we've got another huge room that has its own little chest, kind of little secret alcove on one side, and then this needs to be fixed. But over the other side, we have another one, exactly the same, goes up to the sky, and I'll show you them from above in a moment. We keep going up. Now you can imagine how the staircase works. I'm just going to fly up it for now. And as we get basically to the top, we continue up the stairs, and when you reach the top, we have the build limit height in the world. Can't build higher than that. So if I try and place a block on top, it's like, no, you can't. We've reached 756 blocks high. And you can look down the tower from above. On the sides, if I look down, you will see those huge towers that don't look so big from above, but when you look at them from the side, they're actually quite massive, and they're supposed to be symmetrical on either side. They mostly are. And when we first started playing, we obviously didn't have Elytra, which lets you fly. Didn't have any of the rockets, so we made a little thing here. You could just jump off. You think you're falling to your death, but there's a pool of water at the bottom. Ooh, there it is. And out you pop. Alright, so there's the towers built up. Massive tower on the side. We also had a farm over this side, which when we first started playing was just one level high, obviously. But as we've played more and more and more, you'll see as I go up different levels in the farm, go into this one, here we've got a bunch of flowers, some bees. This one here we've got an aquarium, so we've moved a whole bunch of fish and stuff to the top floor and made ourselves a little pool. Got some turtles in there, you can see the fish swimming around, a bunch of turtles at the top. And as you go down layer by layer by layer, we've got different animal farms, so, you know, turtle layer. Down below was the plant layer with some bees in the corner there. Down below here, we had a couple of cows, which we've moved to another spot recently. Down here, llamas. Row below is rabbits. Aren't they pretty? One more layer down. More cows. Another layer down. Sheep. Another layer down. Pigs. You get the idea. And that just continues all the way to the bottom. And now, we needed those originally to be able to do a whole bunch of different things. At the moment, we've got them all wedged into these little sections here. 24 cows in these chunks here. We put another one in once we feed them. We give them a little bit of food, and they turn into meat. So here, I'll give them some wheat. See? Well, they're all super happy. As they breed, we end up with more than 24 cows in a one box area, and when you get more than 24 entities, you get entity cramming, meaning one will die. And so as these ones are having babies, one of the adults dies. And as the adults die, they suffocate, and their beef gets left behind, as does the leather that they drop. You see that's building up, and that's building up right now. So we've got a series of those as well for cow farms. This is a huge item sorter. Item sorter basically shows you along the front here where all of the items will go, and if you don't want to be so lazy as to run around through all the chests, you can see like grass blocks, right? So if I put in here, say all that dirt, all that grass, you'll notice it's going down in the dirt one. When the dirt one finishes, the dirt grass block one will finish. I'll just make it a little smaller so you can see. And that's building up in this one at the moment. See, going up. And then when the grass blocks start, which should be around now, the grass blocks are going to go up from 31, 32, there you go. Alright, so it just sorts your items all the way along. We've got a whole crap load of different items that sort along that from one end to the other. Pretty basic redstone circus with a bunch of hoppers attached to the back. Okay, what else? Well, after doing all that kind of stuff, we decided we needed some villagers so we could make a villager farm. We started collecting villagers a long way away. You can actually see a track here that runs down that direction for about 3,500 blocks. You get to a villager farm, and we transported them by minecart tracks all the way back to base along here, and then eventually we placed them in some positions over this side, which we'll go and have a look at now. So, up here, all of those villagers eventually became these three. So we got these two villagers in one little box here. They're getting fed by this villager that's going through like a potato farm. You notice him throwing the potatoes to them right now. And they're like, oh my god, thanks for the potatoes. And then they make love, have baby villagers. The baby villagers fall down into this area here and they get transported. You see this cramming going on here. They're stuck up there at the moment. But they get pushed along through the water stream and they end up there. There's the baby villagers, right? As the baby villagers grow into adult villagers, the water stream, their head appears in this block, it pushes them up, they get sucked across, and they land at this one by one little box here. So we've got a whole bunch of villagers in there. And down below, we have a villager sorting system. So, how that works, we go through, and through the villager sorting system. If I want to collect a villager, I hit this button here, which pops a minecart through, grabs a villager, puts him down here. I put a profession table in front of him. If I wanted to be like a librarian, I put elected in front of him, whatever. Then I look at him and he gives me some trades. I'm like, oh, those are some good trades. I like them. And then I'm like, send him off on his way. So off he goes. And you'll see him running across the top up here. Now, since all of these are full at the moment with villagers, he is going to be like, I have nowhere to go. He's going to continue around. And you will see he's going to come along this way, above me. There he goes. And he keeps running all the way along. And when he gets to the end over here, the trading system's like, oh, we're full. Pops him out into the lava. He dies. We don't use him. He sucks. Minecart continues around. Crashes into this cactus here, breaks into the hoppers, gets pushed through the hoppers, back into the trading system, through this hopper here, into there. There's the minecart we just used a minute ago to collect the villagers above. Alright, so villager trading system. If one of these cells was empty, if I didn't have a villager in here, the trading system will basically detect that there's a new villager coming through. It'll pop him out, push him down, drop him into the cell here. And you notice we've got a zombie down below here. Zombie walks back and forward between them and converts the villagers. So if I want to turn this guy into a zombie, I pull the lever, pop him down, zombie attacks him, turns him into a zombie, then I turn him back from a zombie villager into a normal villager, and he's really happy with me, and he gives me good deals. You see he like crossed out 32, replacing with 7, so I only need to give him 7 rotten flesh, he gives me an emerald. I use those emeralds to buy a bunch of different things, so like you can see I've got a bunch of rotten flesh to trade, glass to trade, chicken to trade. This guy will give me diamond items, so if I want to get gear, I go over to him, and here's a bunch of diamond items I can get for small amounts of emeralds, because I've already done the villager zombie thing with him and everyone along here. And then I've got different ones down the end that give me books, enchanted books. So these guys with their names, Efficiency Man gives me efficiency books, Looty Man, so you can see Efficiency 4, Sweeping Edge 3, Infinity for my bow, Looting, Feather Falling, Power, etc, etc. They all give me those books. Take the books, sort the books into different chests, so you can see like there's Unbreaking, there's Efficiency, there's a bunch of efficiency ones. If I want to put those on my items, for example, if I want Efficiency 4 on a shovel, like I have on this shovel here, I take that book, I take my shovel, I go to the anvil, I place the shovel here, I place the book here, and then I get that enchant on my item. So as you can see, I've got a fair bit of enchants on most of my items here. Mending, probably the most important one, and I got the mending books from this villager over here. He gives me mending books, which means basically as soon as I receive experience, I get my health back. And you can see there's a whole bunch of different ones. So, Luck of the Sea, Punch, Smite, Feather Falling, Sharpness, Fortune, Looting, Infinity, Respiration, Power, Silk Touch, Efficiency, Unbreaking, and here's some more mending books that I can use there. So yeah, villager farm, fun times. That took a very, very long time to build. It's very frustrating. And in below here, you can see the potions, splash potions of weakness. You have to press the button, it fires up, it affects him, then you can feed him a golden apple, turn him back into a villager after he's a zombie villager. Pretty exciting. Out of this door here, we could see, well, this is just an initial, we're trying to test the fastest ways to move. So before we had Elytra, you could run along this and just spacebar over and over. And you'll see it's faster than actual running. So that's one way we used to transport ourselves around. Now, when we started playing, didn't have all of this nice stuff. This here, this big man that's burning, was one of our other friends that was playing with us. He built this base just here, and his base is actually inside that man. So you can see some tracks here that kind of lead along into his base area, which is inside the guy here. And he's all made of lava. This dude was a bit of a troll, so his entire base is filled with trapdoors where you walk in and the door opens and pistons fall out from your feet. You fall into a lava pit, and then you die and lose all your gear. Kind of sucked for fresh visitors that didn't know what they were doing. He also built this massive thing, which is a lantern, just powered by a series of pistons. So we've got pistons here that you can see, and they push blocks up or down into power, and these are currently not powered, but we can power them very easily. I've attached a switch to do it, and you can see how it works over here. Just to basically flick the switch, and look, the lights light up, light up, light up, and then they go up the tower as well. So if I go up where you can see them a little bit better, from here maybe. Oh, maybe not. Here you can see dung, 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 the lights lighting up, lighting up, lighting up. It's just a big randomized lighting tower, and all that's really doing is being powered by a trail of redstone. Runs through, pops into a piston down here. The redstone circuit continues up, and the redstone you see turns on and off here, which pushes the pistons up or down, which makes the lights turn on and off. And it does that all the way up the tower to the top, so you can actually go to the top of this tower up here. Got a little staircase. And to the very top of the tower, which is actually multiple levels high. Here's the top, you can see it's lighting, and as it lights, these here turn on and off, as does the ones around the sides, and if you look down, these ones down here are turning on and off as well, same way. Pretty cool. Now I'll just turn that off so we don't lag too much. Okay. Now, we've done a bunch of other stuff, right? So we've got the massive mine. There's my 2 towers from a distance. You can actually see how large scale that building was. That took a really, really long time. Another track leads out this way to a separate kind of base area we won't really worry about for now. Here's what we've just started doing recently, is just kind of making an item sorting systems where we have pictures showing what is inside all of these chests. We have multiple chests filled with them. Now this here, this took a long time to build. This is called an iron farm, and it works on a fairly simple principle. Up the top there, you can probably see my crosshair is on a zombie in a minecart. Now in a minute, you'll see him pop up and he'll run across this track over here. What he's doing though, basically, he gets to this corner, he scares 2 villagers that are trying to sleep, or 3 villagers. They spawn a golem in this box here. The golem falls down, and there he is right now, burning. And when he dies, he drops his iron out. There it goes. And that iron runs along into the water track. The water track runs along down to the bottom, pops down into these crates here. So you can see that one's got none in it, but this one here is starting to fill with iron. Yep. And same thing on the opposite side. Iron chest as well, coming the same way. So you can actually see it as it works here. So at the moment, they've just been scared. Here's another one. He's about to fall down. Boom, he starts burning. And this guy's dropping off the iron. He just died. The zombie villager will be moving across. There he goes to the next one. Scares the villagers. They spawn a golem to protect them. The golem lands in this water thing. Here he is. He falls down into the lava, dies, hoppers with a little tick thing, pops them out of a dispenser. Dispenser puts them in the water stream. Water stream runs along. Water stream goes down and fills said chest. Now, over here, I also attached a sugarcane farm to that same type of area. So here's a fairly large sugarcane farm. Probably the easiest way to explain this is to fill it. So let's just climb ourselves up here and I'll show you how it works. So basically, dirt here. Alright, so if I take some sugarcane, take those bits there for now. If we put the sugarcane into the system, we've got a bunch of observers on the top shelf up here. When the sugarcane reaches the height of those top observers, it fires all of these, which are a series of pistons. And all of these pistons break off the sugarcane, and then this minecart, just here, goes around the track below and sucks it through and builds it up. So you'll see that right here. I'll place one here. Now watch the pistons fire. Boom, they all fire. They do it all the way down 3 levels. The minecart runs across. Now that minecart will go around to the back, and he will continue his little trip all the way around, collecting all the sugarcane that just got dropped off. And you'll actually see, there he goes, the minecart down below. Minecart will continue going all the way around. It'll get all the way down to the bottom, and it will eventually come along this track over here. Here it comes. Gets to the end, hits the end, and now it goes all the way back up and it repeats that journey that it just went along. So it's going to go back up this track over here in a second. There he goes. To the next level, collects all that. Next level, collects more. And he just keeps doing that over and over. Now, what happens after that is it comes back to the top, which it's about to do. And you'll see it will return to this position right in front of me here. Here it comes. And as it does that, it pops all of the stuff it just collected into here, which gets fired out through the stream, and you can see it there. There goes the sugarcane through the stream. Stream runs under the ground across this way, continues down, pops out all the way down here, and starts filling this chest with sugarcane building up, as you can see. It does that on both sides, so the other side does the equal thing. So top cell sees it, when it sees it, it breaks it off by level, all the way down, and that minecart on this level goes and gets it all, brings it back up, distributes it in the same stream. What else have we got? Over this way we've got a creeper farm. So, this over here is a farm designed purely to get gunpowder, to be able to power our rockets for our elytra. And you can see basically there's magma blocks at the bottom which kill everything. And we've got platform by platform by platform by platform going up. Now all of these platforms, what they actually do is it gets dark enough when you stand at a certain height on each of the platforms. And they've got trapdoors on the bottom, which means only creepers can spawn that are slightly less than the amount of blocks required per item height level. And you'll see water. See, we've got water coming out on every level one at a time. I'll just show you that over here. We'll kill off this dude. So, right here, level by level, see the water disappears? Right? Enemies spawn on the levels. There's a spider up there right now. Water pushes the spider off the edge. Spider falls off the edge. Oh, there he goes. He lands in the lava down below, and then he gets cooked in the lava, and then we can access all of that stuff through this underground little area I've got down here, which leads to the collection system for that. And here we got a hopper minecart running around grabbing all the items, and he deposits them in this top chest, which then sucks them down to the bottom chest. So all this string is coming from the spider you can currently hear dying. and then the string will build up in these boxes down here. And the gunpowder will build up as well if we're standing at the correct position to spawn the creepers. It's a fair bit of math to it, but you have to be around about 128 blocks away from the bottom platform up in the sky, so you can't spawn any enemies within caves or whatnot. Otherwise, you won't get maximum spawn rates. But basically, you're going to get 15,000 or so gunpowder every hour if we stand up here on a height that's 128 blocks above there. So this here, I decided to also make into a... so I can not kill myself here. This is a fish farm, an AFK fish farm. And it works fairly much as you would expect. You go AFK, you start hitting it with your fishing rod, and over time the fishing rod will build up whatever items it collects, so books or whatnot. Alright, so down below in here, this square right here that I'm standing on, if you look straight down, that's the top of the creeper farm way down below. This is the block you stand on for the creeper farm to be maximally efficient down below you. At the same time, you throw your fishing rods into the water here. I've got a spare fishing rod to show you. Do this one. So all I would do is stand here on the box and I aim here and then I hold down the right click button and it just keeps throwing, but the thing's in the water there. As soon as I catch something, it pops up and then my fishing rod will throw again and there it goes. I just got something, right? As I get those items, I don't get them myself, but they get collected in a item system down below, and here's the system. So all those things I just collected will end up in one of these chests down the bottom here, right? And here's a bunch of stuff that's already building up, as you can see there. As that chest gets filled, this chest will get filled, which will push you down to this chest, and then this chest, and then we'll have the same working on the other side. So if you go AFK for about 10 hours, all those chests will be full of items, then you can kind of sort through them and take what you want. All of these books here have come from this fish farm. Absolute crap load of them with a bunch of different enchants. Top chest got a bunch of them as well. You get a bunch of items like fishing rods and bows as well from it that are all got enchants that you can combine together. There's another chest of them. And of course you get fish. So here's a whole crap load of fish that I've gotten. Some more fish up there. And here's some random items that you also get out of the fish farm that are built up here. Name tags are pretty helpful. So yeah, there's your AFK fish farm. Now, you'd think that was all, but that's not really even close to... That's just the overworld main section. We've got other bases, like you can see the line goes off over there in the forest. There's another base under the ground. That line goes off over there with another base over there. We actually have another base where that mine track ends all the way down the middle of nowhere over that way as well. So, a lot of stuff, as you can see. Now, what I'm going to do now... Oh yeah, map room, I'll have a look at that. And then I'll go into the nether, and you can see how things look over there. So... here is my map room, which I built recently out of some nice expensive blocks. It took a really long time to get. And I've begun a map of the world, right? It's pretty big. You can see it's actually built one frame at a time. So for example, that bit right there is one bit of the map. So, you know, I had to walk this whole area and do one map at a time to kind of see what it looks like. But here's our base, right? That's where I am right now, right there. This over here was the other map, and that's the villager farm we looked at before, right? So you can kind of see a bird's eye view from above. This big red ring that I showed you before is the spawn chunks. These are the always active chunks in the world. That one there is the initial point that someone spawned in when they started this world. Here you can see the sugarcane farm. This one here is the iron farm. Alright, you can kind of see how it works. That's the lantern thing, yep. And there's the item sorter, there's those cow farms we looked at before. And here is a big hole in the ground where the mine was down below. And that's the aquarium on the top of the roof. That's the top of my two huge towers with the big red bits on each side. So you kind of map the whole world. Now you can see that's the area we've started building in, but we also, if you look at this, we've got a track that goes down this way and leads off way into the distance out this way. That track actually keeps going about another 1,000 squares down that way. And then it goes across here, and this was the village that we initially got the villagers from. And we built a minecart track, as you can see, like this, all the way back to our base to get those first two villagers into this little box over here where we started breeding them in the first place. So that was a pretty frustrating and long, annoying job. The closest ender portal, if you want to go to the end, we found is actually quite close to the villager farm. It's just there, just to the south of it. So, after knowing that, you can actually go into the nether, and you can make a faster transportation system to get between these 2 points. We've also got another base, so if we cut across this way, here's another base that we built, which is pretty big as well. There's a huge farm just here, another farm just there. The main base is inside here. Here's some crop farms, blah, 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 blah. You kind of see them in a little bit more detail when you look at them closely. Started doing a little outlier thing over here, but you can see the world is absolutely freaking enormous. Goes in almost every direction, almost infinity. So this is like a 1 to 4 map. The next map's going to be a 1 to 6 that we build on the next level, and then a 1 to 16 on the top to zoom all the way out. All the way at the top there, the dragon egg that you get from killing the Ender Dragon the first time. So, rarest item in the game, stuck in the ceiling, looking pretty cool up there. Alright, so, now we understand most of that. I'll give you a quick fly tour around the base, and then we'll go to the nether and show you what we've done in there. So here's our iron farm. As you saw before, there's the AFK fish farm. Down there is the creeper farm. That's the spawn chunk over here. This is a new guy started playing with. This is a little mini base over here. It's a water channel we built once upon a time to travel with boats when we were super slow. Here's the big farm I showed you before, level by level. That's the map room we were just in. Here's the item sorter. There's the big lantern I showed you a minute ago. Over this way is the big burning man who the guy had a base inside of. Over here we have the villager farm. Underneath here, there's the villager farm flying over it now. You can see it down below me. All the chests. We had another map that we started here originally. There's my massive tower up into the sky. And you can see that from a fairly long way away. So an easy way to find our way back if we're way out in the distance is just look for this huge tower or that big ring to get yourself back to our main base. Alright, to the nether. So we built a nether portal originally. Took us to the nether. And nether, if you don't know what it is like the second world that sits on top of the overworld. We're currently in the overworld. But the nether will take you through another portal, like so. And as we go through the portal, we end up in a second world that lies on top of the main world that we were just in. Interesting fact about the nether, one square, one block in the nether is equivalent to 8 blocks in the real world. So me going 1, 2 like that over 2 blocks is like in the underworld, or the overworld we just came from, that is like traveling 16 blocks. And so we go 8, 16, 24. If I go that far and I went back to the main world, I've just traveled 24 blocks by only traveling 3 in the nether. So it's actually an easy way to travel distances, right? So, like here, in the nether, all of this track here, every one of these blocks is equivalent to 8 blocks in the overworld. So if you have a track that goes any kind of distance at all, like I've got along here, and I go along it through the nether, as I pop through the nether portal on the other end, I'll end up totally different spot in the overworld. And in this case, where I've just ended up, right here, is actually a really, really long way away from our base. So this track, I'll just fly it, you can kind of see the distance I'm talking about here. This, you might remember on the map, was that second base I told you about. There's like a big water, there's one of the creep farms, mob farm, there's a big water thing, here it is. It's loading in a little bit slowly here. So here to my left was a big water creep farm that we built a long time ago. But if I want to get back to the main base, you can see kind of how far this is. Just loading the chunks very slowly down below me here. You can see I'm going this way. And these will keep loading in as I move. And as I continue in this direction, here's our base again, right? So I only traveled around 400 or 500 bricks in the nether there, but it took me about 2,500 bricks in the overworld, so now I'm just like flying back to base. Now, if you didn't have a Lytra like I do, which allows me to fly around, that is a really long run in one direction to get from one base to the other. So when we first started playing, you built a nether portal. Nether portal allows you to connect one base to another with a much shorter track than you would had you tried to do it in the overworld. And then we realized one thing about the nether, by the way, I'll show you the outside of the nether. So everything in here that's stone, this is man-made. This stuff didn't exist. We built all this. But if you actually went out into the nether, I think I've got a gap over here that we can go out. There's one. So just here, if I head out, this is what the actual nether looks like. So the nether is just filled with lava. It's basically like a hell world. And inside it, I'll fly around a little bit. You can get a little bit of a gauge. There's lava everywhere. This stuff will kill you. And there's a ghast. Ooh, don't really want him to hit me. Fires big blob things at me. And up here in the sky, you can see a tower that we've kind of built. Over this way, some more stuff that we've built. Kind of runs off in multiple directions through the nether. It's really quite a large area. Down here is a mine that we started. So if you can see down here, I've got a multiple level track, basically, that if you had a minecart, you could take to get down. I'll walk through. Rebuild that real quick. So here is a track that if I was on a minecart, I could travel downward to get from one side to the bottom of the nether, basically. And you get down to the bottom of the nether, you can farm nether quartz and things like that. So this is another track that just went in another direction, what we were looking at before. And you can see this is quite a long way if I was to do it in the overworld, but I'm not doing that at the moment. Trying to fly downhill never really works. So, when we get back to the start here, what we then found out is you can actually create a piston-powered hole in bedrock, which sounds confusing, but all that means is you can punch a single hole through bedrock, and you can do it in the nether ceiling. So there is a nether ceiling. So that tower I showed you that goes up before, at the moment what I'm doing is basically climbing a really high ladder. You see that ladder? Goes all the way up. I'll show you the top of it so you can see how high we're talking about. So it goes all the way up to there, really long way. And if you climb by ladder, super slow, as you can see. So we made a minecart elevator here, which is you just stand on the minecart, right click up, right click up, right click up. You're just jumping from minecart to minecart to minecart, going up, and now we're at the top. So here is the top of that ladder we were looking at before, right? A really long way down. This is the nether ceiling made of bedrock. You can't normally break bedrock. However, there is a way that you can throw an ender pearl and break a hole through the nether ceiling and appear at the top, which is what we've done. And we did that, and once you appear at the top, up here, on top of the bedrock ceiling in the nether, we've built this enclosure, obviously, you then have to build like a big piston thing that will eventually make one hole in the bedrock, which is what we've got here, just a 1x1 hole. It took a really long time to make that one hole so we could get back. But you could never get back if you didn't make that hole. You'd be stuck up here forever, never able to return. And this is what the bedrock ceiling looks like. It's just flat in every direction, made of bedrock, in all directions. But when you find a way to get to the nether ceiling, like we have here, what you can then do is do that thing I was telling you about the minecart. So every one of these is equal to 8 squares in the overworld, which means if I connect to this portal over here, I can now simply step through it, and I appear a really, really, really long way away from my main base. So this is actually our ender portal. Now I don't know if you remember the map that I showed you originally that showed you where the villages were that we collected, but here's the village from where we got the villagers. Alright, this is the village we collected the initial villagers from, and here's the track that we used to transport them back to our base. It goes a pretty long way. There's like a hub that we built out of the water over here that connects 2 points of the track together, I think. Here it is. So here's the little hub, and if I follow that track a couple of thousand squares in that direction, I'll end up back at our base. But by using the nether ceiling, you can kind of shortcut that. You don't have to follow this super ridiculously long track, right? And the same thing works through all the portals in the nether, right? Now, if I go back through that portal, it will take me back to the nether ceiling. And I can use that to transport myself back to base quickly. So if I wanted to go back from here, I will appear back on the nether ceiling in the portal I came through before. And if I want to get back to my base, rather than flying several thousand squares, I just follow this track, take myself back to that hub that I showed you before here, and here's my bedrock hole in the portal, and if I go through that portal, it'll take me straight back to base. I'll be back at base in seconds. So, a super easy way to transport yourself long distances. Here I am, back at my initial base. All the way back where that sugarcane farm was that goes down to my secret room over there, alright? So, very, very fast way to get around prior to getting to the point where you go to the end and get Elytra with fireworks that lets you fly. Alright, now speaking of Elytra and being able to fly, once we got Elytra and we're able to fly, a lot of this became a lot faster, obviously. But if I go back up to the ceiling, and I send myself all the way back down to that portal we were at before, which if I could just get out of this, there we go, will take me back where I just came from a moment ago, which was through here and to the left, that way. So this pops me back at the villager farm, where we collected the initial villagers, not the farm, sorry, and in we go. And here I am again, back here. So, I don't know if you remember on the map I showed you a little arrow, but there's the arrow in the sky. Now down below, that's the end, an end portal. So you find that by throwing a bunch of things around, you figure out where it is. Anyway, we found it, and once you find that, you can go to the end. So, the end is the 3rd dimension. So, here, in the end, if we pop through, we appear on a obsidian chunk, and if you look out at the distance, you'll actually kind of see, I built a track going out that way, but this is what the end looks like out here, alright? I'll show you. And here we are, filled with Endermen. Everywhere, right? There's our little home base kind of thing. And the Ender Dragon appears here. Once you kill the dragon and he dies, it creates a portal like that, right there, that you can use to go home, and it creates sub-portals. Every time you kill the Ender Dragon, you get a smaller portal like this, and like this. If you go through these portals, it takes you to like another island filled with Endermen like this. And once you get there, you can find an end city. In an end city on a photo frame, you can find the Elytra that I'm using to fly around right now. But one thing that you can do is build a farm, the best XP farm in the game, in fact. And here's the one we built way out here. Now, this forces everything that's close to you to spawn on one platform. And the platform it's all spawning on is over there. Alright? So when I kill it, just watch this. This is a bunch of Endermen. The XP you get from this thing is pretty ridiculous. See? And as I kill them, more spawn and come sprinting in. Here they come. And this is basically, look, I can't even pick up the XP as fast as I just killed them. You notice my level there, 36, just building up. So, sit here for a little bit, get whatever XP I want, and since I have that mending enchant, every time I get XP it repairs my stuff. So these are fully repaired, it just repairs whatever items you have equipped. So if I want my pickaxe to repair, you notice it's slowly dropping out of my hand on the right there. As that's happening, it's repairing as well. So if I put it in my offhand and I attack with this one, that pickaxe's durability will repair occasionally. There we go, it's fully repaired. Right, there's more XP. And all that XP is building up into, the ender pit fills, build up into a chest like so. Here comes a bunch more endermen, all pissed off. Yeah, so, good times. That took a really long time to build, I might add. This was not an easy process. And that's all sitting on top of string with carpet, but not worried too much about that. Should fire faster work. Yeah, so here's the end. No Ender Dragon. You can respawn him, and every time you respawn him and kill him, you get another one of these little portals that takes you to another outer area in the end. So, if we go back through this portal, it'll take me all the way back to the original spawn chunk. Here I am, just outside. There's my creeper farm. There's my fishing farm in the sky. Just through this door here is the spawn chunk. I'm all the way back at home. So you can use this to travel absolutely massive distances. Now, my world's going to slowly reload in here. But if you think of the map, right, we've just done a whole big trip through a bunch of rooms. And if I look back at my map, I will show you basically the trip we just took, right? So, on my map, we began here at our base. We went through the portal. When we went through that portal, we went up into the nether ceiling. When we went into the nether ceiling, we flew along a track, which took us, look how far this is, all the way down to here. We walked through the portal. There's that arrow I was talking about. That's the ender portal down there. That's the villager farm. So we went from here all the way to here in a matter of seconds. And that other portal we went through here, and then we went along a minecart track to the left. That took us to this really long track here that took us to this other base where that water portal was and all that kind of stuff, right? So you can just connect yourself base to base to base to base. So there, that's what we've been doing since playing PUBG. We'll go into a bit more detail in another game. Thanks guys, see ya.